Good evening, students. So today I am going to start a new chapter for class 9 and the name of the chapter is motion. This is your chapter 1 for physics. Students, in this particular lecture I am going to cover the following topics: introduction to motion, that is your first topic, then scalars and vectors, then distance and displacement. So these are the topics I am going to cover. So let us begin with introduction of motion. So how to define motion? Students, while defining motion, if someone asks, sometimes students tells that when an object is moving, it is said to be in motion. So while defining any terminology, the name of that particular terminology should not be introduced. So the way I am going to define motion, I am going to write it and then I will explain. An object is said to be in motion if it is changing its position with respect to time with respect to a certain point. In bracket we can write reference point. So students, let me explain you this definition. An object is said to be in motion if it is changing its position with respect to time, with respect to a certain point, and that point we can say is the reference point. So what is it? So I am going to explain this by one example. Suppose an object is in location A, okay, and we observe that object after little time and we found that the location of an object is changed. The location of the object is B now. And after certain time again we observed and we found that the location of object is again changed and it is in location C. After some time we found that the location of the object is D. So now we are very sure that this object is changing its location with respect to time. This object is changing its position with respect to time. So surely this object is said to be in motion because its location is continuously changing. For example, we are sitting in the train. So the location of the train currently is say Kicha, and after 15-20 minutes we found the location is Bahedi, okay, and after 1 or 1.5 hours we found the location of the object is or the train is Bareilly. So we are very sure that the train was in motion during that interval. So an object is said to be in motion if it is changing its position with respect to a time and with respect to a certain point. Why I have written this certain point? For judging it out that the body is either in motion or not, we should have a definite reference point, and that reference point is required a lot. For example, this object was moving and I am also moving. I cannot be very sure that how much distance this body have covered, and I have a certain point. I am in a certain point, so I can judge out the position. This was the position, then this was the position, this was the position, this was the position for me. Suppose I am here. So for judging out whether the body is in motion or not, we should have a definite point, and that point is known as reference point. I hope you understood this. So introduction of motion is completed. Now scalars and vectors. What are scalars physical quantities and what are vector physical quantities? We are going to discuss. So a scalar which requires magnitude only. Not the direction. Students, for reducing the length of the video, I am not writing the whole definition or the proper definition. I am just writing the keywords to understand it in well manner. So scalars are the physical quantities which requires only the magnitude, not the direction. So what is it? For example, I have written 5 kilometer. Okay, now I haven't mentioned where these 5 kilometers are. Suppose I mention this 5 kilometer towards north. Now we have magnitude as well as the direction. So this particular number, when we are dealing with figure numbers, these are the magnitude and this is the direction which is written. So these are scalar physical quantities. There are few physical quantities which do not require the direction, they require only the magnitude. Later when we will explain you distance and displacement, you will understand these. Then displacement, or firstly we have to explain vector quantities. Students, these are the quantities which requires magnitude as well as the direction. Magnitude as well as direction. So vector quantities requires the both magnitude and direction as well. You will come to know about this when I will explain you distance and displacement. So without wasting your time, distance. For example, I am going to start with the example. Suppose an object was in location A and after a time interval of t, or we can assume 5 minutes, we found the location of the body is B. Okay, so there is a path length between A and B. This AB is the path length and this AB is known as the distance. So distance is the actual path length traveled by the body. Actual path length traveled by the body. And what is displacement? Students, remember, in my upcoming video I am going to discuss these distance and displacement very briefly. I am just giving a short introduction of distance and displacement. And displacement is the shortest length between 2 points. I am going to discuss this distance and displacement by one example. For example, one object was in location A and after a certain time interval we found that the location of the object is B. Okay, and this object traveled further and that reaches to the location C. Okay, let us take these by one example. Say this distance is 12 km between A and B. Firstly, that object moves from A to B, 12 km, and then B to C. Say this distance is 5 km, and later on that object stops here. Now, what is the distance traveled by the body? So, students, I have written actual path length traveled by the body. So, what actually we have traveled? We have traveled 12 km plus 5 km. See, so we have traveled 12 plus 5. 17 km is the distance traveled in this particular example. Now, what is the displacement of the body? So, students, let us join this line. Why I am joining this line? I already have written shortest length between 2 points, or shortest path difference between 2 points. We can write shortest length, or we can also define as shortest path difference between 2 points. So this is the displacement. AC is the displacement, and how much it will be? So let us assume this angle was 90 degree. Now students, this you can see, this is a right angle triangle, and in a right angle triangle we are able to apply Pythagoras theorem. Must be your math teacher already have told you this. So we are going to apply Pythagoras theorem, and this AC is just opposite to the 90 degree. So this is the hypotenuse, that is the correct pronunciation. Some students pronounce it hypotenuse. It is a wrong pronunciation. Now students, this AC square will be equal to AB square plus BC square. So you are going to get 12 square plus 5 square, 144 plus 25, 169 is AC square, and AC will be square root of 169, so that will be 13 kilometers. So displacement here is the 13 kilometer in this particular example. So here what was required and here what is required. So among these two, which is going to be a scalar and which is going to be a vector. So distance is a scalar physical quantity, because we are not imagining about the direction. We are simply adding 12 and 5 without assuming the direction. And I already have written which requires magnitude, not the direction. So distance is, students, a scalar physical quantity, because we are not considering the direction. And while we are calculating displacement, we also have considered the direction. That is why we have taken the path difference or the location difference between point A and C, and we calculated by considering the distance, by considering this direction. So displacement is a vector physical quantity, and this is what I am going to write. So this is the difference between distance and displacement. So this was all in my first lecture. I really hope you understood it. So thank you. God bless you. Good morning, students. So today I am going to continue my lecture in which I was explaining you about the chapter motion. So students, in this particular lecture I am going to explain you about speed, uniform speed, instantaneous, as well as the average speed. Okay, so let us begin. Speed. So how to define speed? You already have studied in your previous classes that speed is equal to distance upon time. In maths also you have studied this. So speed is defined as the total distance traveled by the object in the time interval during which the motion taken place. Okay, so speed is actually the ratio of distance and time. Okay, so the ratio of distance and time, or the ratio of the distance traveled by the object with respect to that particular time, which is the duration of that particular journey, is the speed. So speed is equal to S upon T. You have to remember one thing, that distance we denoted by symbol S and time by small t. So what should be the unit of this? We can derive the unit distance. Distance is always in meter, okay, and time is in second. So meter per second is the unit. We can write the unit of distance meter per second. Okay. For example, suppose sometimes we say that object is moving with a speed of 50, 60. So we are actually telling that in 1 hour that object can travel 50 km. If we are saying 60 km per hour, so we are telling in 1 hour that object can travel 60 km per hour, and so on. Okay. Now average speed. What is average speed and why we need this average speed? Suppose an object was in location A and that travel from A to B, and suppose this is a journey of 13 km. Then from B to C, okay, that is a journey of, say, we can consider 7 km. Then C to D, it is a journey of, suppose, 10 km. Then D to E, this is a journey of, say, 5 km. Now, how to calculate the speed? So for calculating the speed, we should have the total distance. We can consider the total distance 13 plus 7 plus 10 plus 5 to that of the total time. So we should have the time taken by the object from A to E, the total time we should have. If we have the total distance, we can add our numbers. If we have the total time, we actually can have it. Then we can calculate the average speed. So the formula for average speed will be the total distance divided by total time. I hope you understood this. Now, what is instantaneous speed? Instantaneous. The word tells that we are calculating something on a very particular time. For example, one train is moving and I asked you that on 9:13 a.m. what was the speed of the train? So there should be a definite speed of the train. So that is known as instantaneous speed, the speed of a body at given instant of a time. We are very particular about the time, and on that particular time we should have the speed. So that is known as instantaneous speed. Now students, next is uniform speed. What is the meaning of uniform? Uniform means that there is no change. Okay, so if there is no change in the speed, okay, the object is moving with constant speed. A body is said to have uniform speed if it travel equal distance in equal interval of time. We can consider one example. For example, suppose a body was here from A to B, B to C, C to D. Say all these slots are 50 kilometers away. All these points are away from each other. 50 kilometer, 50 kilometer, 50 kilometer. Okay. Now suppose the body taken from A to B, the body have consumed 1 hour. Okay. For B to C, the body again have consumed 1 hour. From C to D, again the body have consumed 1 hour. So students, we are very sure that for equal distance, the body has taken the equal time. For equal distance, the body have taken the equal time. So such kind of speed is known as uniform speed. A body is said to have uniform speed if it is travel equal distance in equal interval of time. So in equal time, the distance is also equal traveled by the body. Now students, we can also consider about non-uniform. Non-uniform speed, you can understand it by yourself now, that if a body is traveling unequal distance at equal number of times. Okay, if a body is traveling unequal distance in equal number of times, then the body is said to have non-uniform speed. For example, from A to B, this is a journey of say 20 kilometer, body have taken 1 hour. From B to C, this was 50 kilometer and body have taken 1 hour. So here the distance traveled by the object is not same in equal interval of time. So this is considered to have non-uniform speed. Okay. Now students, speed is a scalar quantity. What is the meaning of scalar? You already have understood about this. I can repeat it. Scalar means only magnitude is required, not the direction. For example, we always tell the speed of the vehicle is 50 km per hour, 60 km per hour. We never say in this particular direction. So expressing speed do not require any direction. So speed is considered to be a scalar physical quantity. I hope you understood this lecture. Thank you. God bless you. So students, the fifth point, distance can't be less than displacement. Displacement can be either equal to or less than distance. This we can understand by considering one example. Even yesterday I have taken the same example. Suppose an object is in location A and this object travels a distance of 12 km. And after this object travels a further distance of 5 km. And finally it reaches to point C. So what is the distance of the object? Distance traveled by the object is 12 plus 5, 17 km. As distance is a scalar quantity, so we haven't considered any direction. We are just adding the magnitude. So we got 17 km is the distance traveled by the object. What is the displacement of the object? So we have to consider the initial position and the final position and just draw a line joining these 2 points. So this is the displacement. And what is the value of this? We can apply Pythagoras theorem as this angle is 90 degree. So students, you already know the Pythagoras theorem. This is the side opposite to the 90. This is considered to be the hypotenuse. So AC square will be equal to, by Pythagoras theorem, 12 square plus 5 square. So AC square is equal to 144 plus 25. AC square is 169. AC is 13 kilometer. So displacement is 13 kilometer. By this example, this is very clear. The distance was 17 kilometer and displacement is 13 kilometer. So 17 is greater than 30 by this example. Even we may consider so many examples where we will find the distance cannot be less than displacement. Distance is always greater than or equal to the displacement. It cannot be less than displacement. And displacement can be either equal to, this is also possible, the displacement will be equal to distance or less than distance. As this, by this example, we can understand it well. So thank you, God bless you. Keep on accelerating it. So finally, after time t, its velocity becomes v. So what is the change in velocity? What is the change in velocity? So students, change in velocity is v minus u. What is the time taken? Time taken is t. And how to define acceleration? Acceleration is denoted by a. Acceleration is the rate of change of velocity. So that is v minus u divided by t. Whenever we are discussing about rate, we have to divide with the time. With respect to time we are calculating. Okay, we understood this, that the change is v minus u. But what was the time taken? So that is why we have to divide it by denominator t. So rate of change of velocity is known as acceleration. So this is acceleration. It is denoted by the letter small u. Okay. Now what should be the unit of this? SI unit. SI unit of acceleration will be, in the numerator there is velocity. The unit for velocity is meter per second. In the denominator there is time. The unit for time is second. So the overall unit will be meter per second square. Second into second, second square. So this is how we define the acceleration. I hope you understood this. Thank you. God bless you. Good morning, students. I hope you are fine in your home. So I hope that you have watched my previous lecture before coming to this lecture, because in this lecture we are going to discuss about equations of motion. So students, there are three equations of motion. First, second and third. I will explain all three equations of motion, that how you can prove these equations. So let us begin with the first equation of motion. So for this, you have to consider an object whose initial velocity is u, and after time t, its velocity becomes v. This you have to consider. Perhaps you can assume any vehicle which is moving with initial velocity u, and after time t, its velocity becomes v. When this will happen? When we are providing the acceleration. So by u velocity the object is moving, then we are changing its velocity. Okay. So when we change its velocity, we are using acceleration. And how we can calculate this acceleration? We already know acceleration is rate of change of velocity. I have explained to you in my previous lecture. So acceleration is equal to v minus u upon t. So let us solve this. Do cross multiply. V minus u is equal to at. Minus u shifted there becomes plus u. So v is equal to u plus at, and this equation is known as first equation of motion. You have to learn it actually. Okay. Wait, first equation of motion. Whenever someone asks, that is v is equal to u plus at. Final velocity is equal to u plus at. So more the acceleration will be. We are adding in initial velocity. What we are adding? Acceleration and time product. So more will be the acceleration, greater will be the final velocity. So this you can understand. Now second equation of motion we are going to prove. Let us consider an object having initial velocity u, and after time t its velocity becomes v. These are the language you have to write in each and every equation, okay, for solving it out. Now initial velocity is u and final velocity is v. So what is the average velocity during whole the journey? What is the average velocity? How to calculate the average? Average is sum of observation divided by number of observation. So there are two observation, u and v, and number of observation 2. So average velocity is equal to u plus v upon 2. I hope you understood this. Now what is the displacement? What is the displacement of the object? Displacement is always equal to velocity into time. Average velocity into time. Those who are not able to understand this equation, displacement is equal to velocity into time, recall your previous classes and try to understand this. What is distance? How to calculate speed? Speed is equal to distance upon time. Okay. Now, how to calculate distance? Distance is equal to speed into time. Distance is speed into time. Okay. That was for a scalar. Now for vector, displacement, in place of distance there is displacement, and in place of speed there is average velocity into time. I hope you understood this now. So now substitute the value. So displacement s is equal to average velocity u plus v upon 2 into time t. Okay. Now students, substitute the value of v from equation 1. We can consider this as equation 1. Okay, first equation of motion. We are considering equation 1 and let us substitute this value here. So s is equal to u plus v upon 2 into time t. In place of this v, we have to substitute u plus at here. So u plus at divided by 2 into time t. So s is equal to, what will be u plus u? 2u plus at divided by 2 into time t. Now let us solve this. Take this upon 2 in both of the numerator. So 2u upon 2 plus at upon 2 into time t. So s is equal to 2 and 2 gets cancelled out. When this bracket will be open, t will be multiplied. So s is equal to u into t, ut plus at into t, at square. But don't forget that is 1 by 2 also. So you will write in this way. S is equal to ut plus half at square. So this is second equation of motion. This is how we represent it. So firstly you should know about that how to represent the equations. First equation is v is equal to u plus at. We have proved this. Second equation is s is equal to ut plus half at square. This is also we have proved in front of you. Now third equation is v square is equal to u square plus 2as. So students, if you want to learn the proof, then at least these equations should be learned by you. Then only it will help you out to solve it further and to prove it out. Okay. Now we are going to prove the third equation of motion. So first equation of motion v is equal to u plus at. Already I have solved. Second equation is s is equal to ut plus half at square. What is the concept behind it? So concept is average velocity. Average velocity is equal to u plus v upon 2. Displacement is average velocity into time. Displacement is denoted by s. You have to remember this. So s is equal to, substitute the value u plus v upon 2 into time t. Now if we have learned the equation already before solving it, so we can see that there is none use of v. V is not present in this equation. So we have to replace v by any other value. So that is why we have replaced the value of v by u plus at from first equation of motion, and then we are solving it further and we are getting s is equal to ut plus half at square. Now students, we are going to prove third equation of motion. Third equation of motion is v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Students, let us solve this. Third equation of motion. Now students, what we can do, we can take the language from the previous languages. In the first equation and second equation, I already have written the language. So same you have to copy it. Okay, before solving it, you have to write all the language from there. Now let us begin third equation of motion. So how we have calculated average velocity? Average velocity is equal to u plus v upon 2. Sum of observation divided by number of observation. Then we calculated displacement. In second equation of motion, displacement S is equal to, what was displacement? Average velocity into time t. Now equation 3. If you follow equation 3, you will find that t is not present here. Yes, we already have done the equations, so we can see that t is not present here. But here we have to replace t by any other value. So we have to use first equation of motion. And what was first equation of motion? First equation of motion was v is equal to u plus at. Now calculate the value of t. So at is equal to v minus u. What will be the value of t? A is in multiply, shifted there becomes divide. So t is equal to v minus u upon a. Let us consider this as equation 2 or equation 3. This as equation 2, and v is equal to u plus at. Already was equation 1. Now substitute the value of t from equation 3 in equation 2. Substitute the value of t in equation 2. What you will get? So S is equal to u plus v divided by 2 into, in place of time t, we have to replace it by v minus u upon a. Now students, in class 8th, your maths teacher might have taught you one identity, a plus b, a minus b. A plus b, a minus b is equal to a square minus b square. I hope you are aware about this identity. So we can replace this v plus u, v minus u. So S is equal to v plus u, v minus u will be v square minus u square. By using this identity, I have mentioned it here. Now 2 into a 2. Now to students, cross multiply v square minus u square is equal to 2as. So minus u square when shifted there becomes plus u square. So v square is equal to u square plus 2as. And this is the third equation of motion. So all three equations we have proved it. You should do practice. You have to learn. Firstly, you should learn the equations, and then you have to learn the proof and go with the concept. Don't learn it actually means you are not doing rectification. You should understand it well, and then only you can solve the numericals on basis of these equations. So we will solve in our further lectures. Thank you. God bless you.